I could also not make sense when I was told that the accident had occurred in Naivasha because he had no plans of traveling. So it was, at first I thought it was a prank, but then the officer identified herself and said she was Corporal Rhoda of Naivasha police station. So I drove and I went. I realized that it was going to be very heavy for me.
All right, welcome back to Havana Media. Now, I bring you an emotional account from the family of the late Cyrus Jirongo as his wife, Anne Jirongo, breaks her silence on the last moments she shared with her husband. Fighting back tears, Anne recalled how Jirongo told her he was stepping out to meet National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetang'ula. And now what sounded like a normal meeting would later turn into a nightmare. When news of his death reached her, Anne says that she was in disbelief. At first, I thought it was a prank. That's what she said, struggling to comprehend how a routine meeting could end in a tragedy.
On 12th of December, that was Jamhuri Day, Cyrus called me at around 12:34, and we spoke for about 3 minutes and 45 seconds. He called again at around 2:30 and asked me where I was. And I told him that I was in the supermarket. He said he wanted to see me, so he drove to where I was. When he reached the parking, he called me and told me he was outside. So I just put the trolley aside and went to see him. I sat in the car, we had a conversation, and then he left. He told me he was going back to the office to build his castles. He told me I'm going to dream and build my castles in the office, but later I'll be going to see the Honorable Speaker Wetang'ula. Later, he FaceTime called me at around 4, told me he never even went to the office, that he had gone to the house and was just feeling tired and went to sleep. So when he called, he was just on the chair. He told me he had been dozing on the chair for about 2 hours. And that was the last time I spoke to Cyrus. And the time he came to the parking at the supermarket was the last time I saw him. I had a restless night that night. I didn't sleep well. And the feelings I had were really strong. So I looked at my watch, at my phone, and it was exactly midnight. I could not really decode what I was feeling. So I took a screenshot of my phone. It is the picture on my tribute. It was exactly midnight. And I could hear voices saying, "It is over. It is over." I couldn't make sense of it. At 3 o'clock, 3:20, when I got the call, I was still awake, trying to make sense of what I was feeling. I saw his call, but when I picked, it was not him. Someone asked me if I knew the owner of the phone, and I told him, yeah, that's my husband. I asked where he is, if I could speak to him. But they told me that he's been involved in an accident, and he was unconscious but was being attended to by the doctors. I continued talking, but I immediately asked my daughter Sonia to accompany me, and we started driving towards Naivasha. I could also not make sense when I was told that the accident had occurred in Naivasha because he had no plans of traveling. So it was, at first I thought it was a prank, but then the officer identified herself and said she was Corporal Rhoda of Naivasha police station. So I drove and I went. I realized that it was going to be very heavy for me. I called Senator Kaniri, I called Mr. Kisia and Mr. Fred Amayo and asked them to accompany me to Naivasha. And I'm glad that even at that hour, at 3 a.m. in the morning, they woke up and they followed me alongside their spouses. And we kept going, we kept communicating. I also called his doctor, Martin Wanyoike, and put him on high alert. I told him Cyrus has been involved in an accident, kindly be on high alert. And he called back and even sent me a number for the air rescue. Finally, when I called the police officer, I told him the air rescue requires a landmark for them to land. That's when the commandant of Naivasha police station told me mama, hii sasa sio rescue mission, mzee ametuacha. It was devastating. We stopped the car on the roadside and we just screamed and cried and cried. I informed Christine Yokabi, I informed Kanini of what has happened. I also informed her siblings. And I called some of our children, Jake, Tim, and June. I told them to follow because things were really bad. I had also called Honorable Sudi. Though he did not answer, he called me at around 6, and I also informed him about what had happened. We reached there. We found Cyrus in the morgue at Naivasha Mortuary. So the rescue mission changed now to something else. So I called Lee Funeral Home and asked them to send us a hearse. And the whole team, we converged at the morgue and we brought him back to Nairobi. It is a terrible loss. It was so shocking to speak to someone a few hours and then later be told that he is no more. I pray for your prayers for the family. The children have been hardest hit, but God will give them strength. And I pray that all the children, let us be strong, let us love one another, and let us continue with Dad's legacy. Dad was a fair man. He believed in equity, and he never discriminated against anyone. And I pray that God will give us the grace to continue that and to be fair to all the children and give them what they deserve. God bless us all. Thank you.
But now, according to the statements that are made publicly, Moses Wetang'ula confirmed that Jirongo had indeed reached out to him while he was in Uganda, expressing a desire to meet. Wetang'ula said the two had conversations touching on personal matters, including condolences over the passing of his mother and discussions about his brother. This revelation has only deepened public curiosity and concern as questions continue to emerge about what transpired between Jirongo's final phone calls and his sudden death.
Rafiki yangu Jirongo alikuwa amenipigia simu nikiwa Uganda tarehe 9 tarehe 10 kwa michezo ya bunge. Kumaliza jamhuri nikampigia nikamwambia, Cyrus, ulikuwa unanitafuta, kuja tuongee. Akakuja tukaongea. Akaniambia mwaka huu ukianza mama yako alikufa, na mnajua mama yangu Anne na Wahwana alikufa. Kasema, ndugu yangu, nilikuja huko lakini watu walikuwa wengi zaidi, sikuweza hata kukufikia. Na sasa umepoteza ndugu yako mkubwa Mwalimu, na yeye pia ni rafiki yangu. Wakati huu vile umeniambia mtazika tarehe 19 mwezi huu, nitakuja tarehe 18 tulale pamoja, ili tarehe 19 tumzike ndio turudi Nairobi. Tukaketi pamoja kutoka saa 2 jioni, na mbaluya mwingine anaitwa Redman Malala na generali mwingine anaitwa Jeno Tuwei wa Athletics Kenya. Kutoka saa 2:30 ilipofika saa 3 tulikuwa tumepoteza mbunge moja kutoka Mazeras Pwani. Nikamwambia Cyrus, mimi kesho naenda Mazeras. Nimemwambia mbunge wenu Nabii, kuja unisindikize tuende kuzika mbunge huyu anaitwa Dena. Saa 3:30 mimi nakawacha. Asubuhi nasikia habari Jirongo amekufa kwa accident Naivasha. That is how close it is to me. Mtu mmekula na yeye, mumekaa meza moja, mumewachana, unaenda nyumbani, asubuhi unaambiwa hayuko tena.
But as grief turns into demands for clarity, several leaders and public figures, including Professor George Wajackoyah and close associates of Jirongo, have openly called for answers and justice.
Swali la kwanza, There have been no government statement ya kuelezea sisi kwamba ile probox ambayo ilikuwa inafuata ilikuwa imebeba kina nani, na ule mzigo ambao ulikuwa kwa hiyo probox ilikuwa ni mheshimiwa ama ilikuwa ni mtu mwingine. Nisiseme.
Sasa huyu jamaa, ndugu yetu hodari, shujaa, ameteswa sana, na hata maswali ambapo Wajackoyah ameuliza lazima zichunguzwe vizuri.
We need to have thorough investigation on everything that is questionable. It does not presume guilt on anyone to have thorough investigation. And I offer to buy the torch, Khaniri, in that respect. Because the truth is important. And the truth is not presumption of guilt on anyone.
But now, whether symbolic or spiritual, the calls are growing louder. Kenyans want transparency, accountability, and closure. But as we conclude here at Havana Media, our thoughts remain with the family during this difficult time. The questions surrounding Jirongo's death continue to weigh heavily on the nation, and many watching closely to see what answers will emerge. So make sure that you share your thoughts in the comments, and if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell for more updates, because everything that happens here at Havana Media, we do remove them publicly. My name is Oduor Billy. Make sure that you stay tuned for more updates like this of Cyrus Jirongo. Until next time, see you.